pulled in, the first thing I noticed was a lot of carryback on the system. You can see it's hanging on the structure. It's being liberated at every one of the return idlers coming down through there. So I'm looking at the structure, and if I had to guesstimate, I'd say there's probably close to 2 tons of material hanging on the structure that's not being sold, not going out. It's basically going to be cleaned off and either scrapped or reprocessed, one or the other. So you really need to control the carryback, not only for the financial aspect of lost material, but also the amount of damage that it's doing to the structure. That carryback looks like it's just laying there, but the vibration of the structure is actually causing it to be an abrasive element on the conveyor. It's going to wear away the finish on the conveyor, it'll wear away the paint, it'll hold moisture, and it'll cause corrosion, rust, and weaken the structure over time. I'm not talking about over 1 or 2 years, I'm talking about over several years of operation. It will weaken the structure. The other thing is, the structure wasn't designed to have that extra material hanging on it at all times. So it's constantly putting the structure into a state of overload if you're running a full load of material up the belt line. Getting into the rolling components, if you see the carryback on the idlers, build up on the idlers, it's causing additional wear to the idlers. It's also causing an out of balance with the rotation of the idlers, which will cause the idler bearings to fail prematurely. So carryback is a big issue, and it really needs to be addressed. And the way to address it is by putting good cleaners up at the discharge point of the conveyor. And those cleaners have to be installed correctly, set up correctly, and maintained correctly. They're a pretty low cost part of the system, but they prevent a lot of lost money over time. So that's where you really get the most bang for your buck, is by cleaning at the discharge point and keeping the material going in the flow of the conveyors. If you're keeping the material traveling in the flow of conveyors, it won't build up on every conveyor. It'll continue traveling, and it'll make it to the payout pile where you make money on it, and it doesn't cost you money. So on this particular conveyor, this is a stack out conveyor going to build pile. A lot of people will say that they don't need a cleaner on there because the carryback's just going to fall onto the pile and it's just going to go out anyhow. But in fact, there's no cleaner on this system, so you can see the carryback build up on the structure. You can see the idlers seeing the wear. That's also going to tend to wear the lagging if you have a snub pulley or if you have a counterweight take-up. You'll wear the lagging out on the dirty side contact substantially faster than if you don't have a cleaner on there. You also shed a lot more material there, and you'll get buildup on those pulleys that'll cause the belt to track off one way or the other, driving it into the structure and causing edge damage to the belt. Those are some issues that you'll run into out there. So carryback is costly in that it damages the components of the conveyor, it damages the structure of the conveyor, it causes rework of the material, and also it can cause the belt to track off, damaging the belt, damaging the idlers, damaging the structure. Carryback really is one of the worst problems on any conveyor out there, and it's relatively inexpensive to fix. Frequently people will say, I put a cleaner on and that cleaner just didn't do it. Well, you have to look at the appropriate installation for the application. And oftentimes people will try putting a primary cleaner on where the blade is almost as wide as the belt. You only want to clean the area of the belt that's carrying material with a primary cleaner. You can use a secondary to cover the width of the belt and pick up the small amount of fines on the outside edge. But if you put a primary on that's wider than the material flow, the center of that blade will wear out, and then you're not contacting the dirty part of the belt, so you're not cleaning. So that's one of the biggest issues out there that you'll run into, is the center will be worn out on the blade on a primary and there's no secondary to clean up afterwards. The ideal situation would be to put a primary on that's cleaning the width of material with a urethane blade, and then come back either underneath the head with one of our dual cleaners that has the primary and the secondary, or to go with a primary up there and then go with a secondary right behind the head pulley, and you're going to get the most cleaning by having both a primary and a secondary on your system. As I said, Superior offers the dual cleaner, which is an SFL cleaner. You set it up and you don't have to touch it again until the blades are worn out. So the maintenance on it is very minimal. You do monitor it, make sure that the blades are wearing good, make sure you don't have a problem in that sense. But as far as actual maintenance, it's minimal. That's one of the benefits to the Superior Cleaner line, is having the SFL tensioners on there. Some guys don't like the SFL. They want to be able to do more hands-on maintenance, adjust the tension a little more, tweak the tension to clean their product. And in that case, then we go with just our standard Xterra cleaners with the manual tensioners on there. It gives you a little bit more feel. You can measure, you can adjust, you can customize it to the application more so than a one-size-fits-all application.